Hello, it's me, Curtis from the Epic Marvel Podcast. You never know when I'm going to do a live stream. I just kind of, whenever I feel the urge, never have it scheduled. Just like to hop on whenever inspiration strikes. So if you are watching today, thank you for checking me out, even though it may be in the middle of your work day or whatever. 2 o'clock 2 o'clock my time Pacific on the West Coast here, and so that means what some people are probably ending their work days right about now, or some of you, if you are in school, might be out of school. But anyway, I've got an epic collection to show you. Um, First of all, I got this new shirt today. Check this out. It says Worlds of Fantasy at the comic shop. It gives the address to a comic shop here in Vancouver that doesn't exist anymore. It was one of the very first comic shops to spring up, one of the first specialty comic shops in Canada, called the Comic Shop. And 1974 is when it opened up. And it was when the direct market was first coming into things, and um just a wild time. Fun fact, Dark Horse editor Diana Schutz worked at this store when she was in her early adult years before she got a job at working in the comic industry. She was working at a comic book store. So pretty cool, hey? That's good. Looks like we have a few people here. I was just about to sleep, but this is more important. Yeah, I'm glad you're staying up. Well, I won't make this too long. You can go to bed pretty soon. Any DC finest to show us? No, sorry, there's no information about DC finest yet. You're on the treadmill, watching me on the treadmill. That's kind of cool. Been talking in the third person since you posted the Doom Masterworks. Hi, Krypton Ken. Okay, so the Doom Masterworks. Let me show you. I got it right here. I saw this a little while ago at my local comic book store, and um, I'm not a Masterworks guy. Don't usually buy Masterworks. I just find them a little bit too pricey for me, and yeah, it's just not my thing. I prefer the Epic collections. But this one has a lot of material that's pretty rare, and well, it's called Marvel Rarities, as you can see. Doesn't have a lot of the stuff that you're going to find in the Epic collections because it's like Tales of the Watcher backup stories. Well, we don't have a Watcher Epic collection, so where's it going to show up? They're not going to show up in the Silver Surfer Epic collection because there's too many pages for all of that content to fit in volume 2, since we already have volume 1 and we already have volume 3. It just doesn't fit. um this was sitting on their shelf a while, I think, because it has a sun bleached spine, but it's not a big deal to me. It's the content that is worthwhile. So this is all stuff from the 1960s and the 1970s. Amazing Adventures numbers 1 to 4 and number 6, Tales of Suspense 49 to 58, Silver Surfer 1 to 7, Marvel Superheroes numbers 20 and 23, and Astonishing Tales numbers 1 to 8. And it all features a bunch of different characters. So some of them, let's see if I can find some of these characters. I think the first one in here is a character, Dr. Droom. Dr. Droom, right there. This is from Amazing Adventures number 1, 1961. And in fact, June 1961. This is before Fantastic Four number 1. And this is a guy who later goes on to be Dr. Druid, who joins the Avengers in the Roger Stern era. Dr. Droom defies the menace called Krog. And then, yes, the Watcher backup stories, which these are actually repurposed old, sci-fi stories from the Atlas era that they've refitted. I think that they've refitted to have a Watcher relevant material at the beginning and the end. And then some of the ones at the end here, toward the end, we actually get into Watcher's origin stories and such. So that's kind of cool. And then what else is in here? Here's some beautiful Gene Colan art. Just look at this. Really, really cool stuff, Gene Colan. Always a treat when he is drawing the books in the 60s, that's for sure. And then, so lots of Watcher stuff. Um, Lots of Watcher stuff. And then Doctor Doom stories. These ones are from Amazing Adventures, I think. Amazing Adventures 1 through 4, number 6. No, no, that's the Droom stuff. I guess this is Astonishing Tales. Oh yeah, because he shared the title with Kazar at the time. Yeah, there's a cover for you. And there you go. This is Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, and Wally Wood. So really, really great creators. I've read a few of these stories before, but not in any great detail. Especially haven't read this Doctor Doom stuff. And this is significant because they put out a Doctor Doom omnibus, and apparently not all of these stories were included in there. They kind of picked the best of, but this book has all of the Doctor Doom stories from there, and a lot of bonus features. So it's kind of cool. I can see why people like these books. It's got some nice quality paper stock. It's a little glossy, but not too glossy. It's not much. The thing about this is that it's the ink that really shines. The paper doesn't have a huge sheen to it, but the ink sits on top of the paper, and so it's the thing that actually gets shiny because it isn't soaked into the paper. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'm going to enjoy that. I contemplating buying some more Masterworks, the ones that aren't in Epic collection, but for the most part, they're all going to be in Epics. So I'm just gonna wait. Like, there's got to be a Warlock Epic collection coming it sooner or later, right? Sunkissed, yes. Didn't even know this existed until I saw your post. Yeah, it didn't get a whole lot of press, I think, when it came out here. The omnibus left the Red Skull stuff out, maybe too much Nazi stuff. Did it? I don't know about the Red Skull stuff. Oh, you're talking about supervillain team up. This reminds me, I need to run down that thick supervillain team up trade paperback before I forget about it again. Yeah, that's a good one. There's a lot of great stuff in that one. The omnibus left the Red Skull stuff out. I'm not sure which Red Skull stuff we're talking about there. Okay. Anyway, I have one epic collection to show you today. So let's take a look and see what is inside the package. Ah, didn't open it wide enough. This is the most exciting part, right? You see that? Black Widow, Modern Era Epic Collection, Volume 3. It's called Chaos. There you go. This is a book that collects Black Widow, the series from 2014, numbers 1 to 20, plus Punisher 9, and material from All New Marvel Now .1. Oh, here's a there are a couple of issues in the Masterworks that included the Red Skull in those Doom issues. They weren't in the Omnibus. I see what you mean. Those are the ones that were left out of the Doom Omnibus, the ones with the Red Skull. Too much nonsense. I don't know. They are releasing stuff with Nazi content in it all the time. So I'm not sure exactly what the deal is there. D-Rock says, never catch you live. There you go. You caught me live today. Okay, so this is the Black Widow book, and it has a full run, 20 issues. Like it's the start and the finish until they, canceled it and then rebooted it again. And so all of it is collected in this volume right here. And this is the run by Nathan Edmondson. This is a nice splash page right here. Nathan Edmondson with art from Phil Noto, and that's very cool because it's all done by one creative team. No swapping around artists or writers or anything. That's pretty cool. The other credits are for the Punisher issue by Mitch Gerads and um, I guess Nathan Edmondson was a writer on that one too. So that's pretty good. Not bad at all. But all Phil Noto, I just love this guy. He's got such an interesting style. It's stylized, it's precise, it's clean. It doesn't look like a standard comic book, which may be a put off to some of you, but I really like it. Uh, he's got a cool style. And he's very versatile too, and a lot of people just know him from this kind of artwork, but I've been reading his run on New Mutants in the Krakoa era, and he does some really cool stuff there because I think he's trying to evoke a little bit of Sienkiewicz abstractness to his work, and does a very, very cool thing. So yeah, you can see that lots of action in this book. Um, I think I started reading this series back in 2014, but never finished it. Maybe I read the first story arc, but didn't get further than that. But and it wasn't because it was bad. I quite enjoyed it, but I just never got around to finishing it. This series has been collected, as far as I know, in skinny trade paperbacks. This is the first time we're getting a complete collection of the entire run in one book. There's a nice cover with Hawkeye on it. Very cool. I like how his color palettes. One of his pages. You look at one page and it always has a very specific color tone to it. Like this one's very earthy browns and yellows. In fact, this whole issue might be. And then you go to another page. Oh yeah, and then changing the scene. Of course, he'll bring in something different. But then, depending on the mood that he's trying to evoke, he uses he tries to go for a little bit of a monotone color palette. Oh, helicopter crash. That's cool. There you go. What do you think of this? Have you read this run, everybody out there? Oh, nice. I really like that. It's so much mood that you can get with the colors on that. And it looks like the ship is trailing bloody water. I don't know if that's the case or not. But yeah, let's see. Really enjoyed both of the classic Black Widow epics. Had never read any of the material. He did a bunch of Star Wars stuff too. Yes, that's right. I'm gonna have to check out that Star Wars because yeah, and I liked his cable as well. I thought his cable was more of a similar style to this one, but his cable was a lot of fun too. Um, only the skinny trades. Outside of that, this wasn't collected before. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a bunch of people are agreeing there. Only collected in the smaller trades. So this book, um, let's see, when is this coming out? Black Widow is coming out April the 9th. Get ready, folks. April 9. And that's not too far away. Actually, we're not even in March yet, are we? Um, it's a great collection, an underrated run. Jason says, "Are you surprised there's no announcement of modern epic Spider-Man yet outside of the Spider-Man Deadpool?" Um, a little bit. I mean, yeah, they've introduced pretty much all of the other big characters, and we've got two X-Men epic collection, modern era epic collections coming out. I bet we'll hear from Spider-Man pretty soon. I mean, they're going to share. Obviously, they're going to save. Um, they're not going to give us everything all at once. They'll want to spread it out so that people get excited over time. Nat never gets long runs. Yeah, I don't know what her longest run of Black Widow is. It might be this one with 20 issues. But yeah, she doesn't get very many long ongoing series, does she? Looking forward to reading this. Yeah. Um, this looks like a lot of fun. Well, so that's interesting. Our live stream today talked about something very recent, this one, and then something very old with the 1960s era Marvel Rarities stories. So that's kind of cool. Ah, yeah. Do you think we'll ever see Ultimate Spider-Man, Avengers, and X-Men Epic Collections at some point? Well, I think Ultimate Spider-Man for sure. That's a shoe-in because that series was so popular, and I'm sure they will be looking to reprint it as soon as they're finished with these Omnis because they're releasing the Omnis at the moment. Um, Once those sell through, they'll be looking for a new avenue for them to sell, and I'm sure Epic Collection is the obvious next choice. And then as far as X-Men, Ultimate X-Men, no, sorry, the Ultimates and Ultimate Fantastic Four, all of those ones, I don't know if X-Men probably would. The other ones, Yeah, Ultimates probably would too. It's just the Fantastic Four one was not as popular as the other Ultimate lines. So I don't know what their opinion is on that. But, they're taking risks with some of these epic collections. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the other Ultimate ones sell well, then yeah, they might push those other ones through as well. Glad that with the moderns in between reprinting popular and already printed material, we get more rarer material. That's right. So, will this come out as an epic? I don't know. I kind of kind of hope it waits for a little while so that the burn of spending money on this book because it wasn't cheap. Um, what is and I've calmed down from that a little bit. Really enjoying your epic podcast, especially the Fantastic Four ones with your brother. Any plans to finish Englehart Fantastic Four runs podcast with your brother? I really like podcasting with my brother because he does a lot of really great research and he's got a good knowledge of a lot of different things. So he brings a lot to the table when we do our podcast together. And yes, we've actually already recorded the final Englehart Fantastic Four episode, but I just haven't had time to edit, which is why I haven't had time for months to get any podcast episodes out. Um, yeah, stop that live streaming. Get to editing the podcast episodes, right? That's what you're saying. Is the spectacular Spider-Man epic line announced? Maybe next time. It's not announced yet, and I have no insider information. I don't know when that's coming, so your guess is as good as mine. Personally, I think that they are waiting so that because we're very close to the end of things like Captain America and Daredevil, especially, only has a few volumes left to go, um, and Thor. So once a lot of those titles wrap up, there will be room for one a more long running titles, and Spectacular Spider-Man is definitely a long running title. Really enjoy your channel. You've converted me from an Omni person to an Epic collector. Wow, that's good. Good job. I'm glad. Don't take me buying this Masterworks as saying that you should be a Masterworks person because I still firmly believe that these these trades being cheaper and also just more portable. Oh, I got a little bend in my corner. That's too bad. Um, this is the way to go. I appreciate omnis for what they are, but I just don't like reading them. They're just too big. Ah, Masterworks are very nice, worth collecting. Yeah, and you know what? And like I said, I can see why these ones are sought after because it's great. And how many pages is this one? There's a lot of bonus pages. 250. There's 250 regular pages and then probably another 50 pages worth of bonus material. So about 300. Um, but it's like for me, this cover price is 85 bucks. And this cover price is, oh, this one's 65 for us in Canada. So you get more issues per dollar for this one. I know it's not hardcover, but it's just better value. Oh, whoa, a lot more comments here. Does Amazing Spider-Man Classic Epic need to end before they start Spectacular or Modern or Amazing? I hope not, because there are a lot more volumes of Amazing Spider-Man to go through. Like all of the Clone Saga, plus we've still got several volumes in the 70s to get through. So I bet you it'll come before Amazing Spider-Man wraps up, but it might be waiting for one of those that are closer to the wrap-up date to kind of give up its spot. Somewhere Omar is screaming and he doesn't know why. Thank you for sharing, Curtis, and for always being the amazing person you are. Thanks, Dragon Ball Z All Star. That is a very nice thing to say. I try to be a positive person. Um, Got to get that ROM Omni. You know what? I think I am gonna actually bite the bullet and get the ROM Omnibus because, we saw what happened with Conan, and we saw what happened with Master of Kung Fu. I didn't buy those Omnis, and I was just waiting for the Epics, and they did arrive, but then they lost the license, and so they got canceled. And I was like, "Oh man, now I gotta like kind of track down the Omnis." Not easy to do now that some of them are out of print and stuff. So why wait? But that means three ROM Omnis, two Micronauts Omnis, a Godzilla Omni. So those are all licensed books. That's 6 Omnis that I potentially wanna get this year. That's I don't know. That's a lot. There you go. That's what I was just talking about, James. What omnibuses are you gonna buy this year? Um, Hi, Stephen the Shy Warrior. Nice to see you. And Max Appleman. Hey, babe, to you too. Good evening. What would be volumes 1 and 2 of Modern Black Widow? That's a great question. Um, it would. I am assuming it's starting in the Marvel Knights era, and they'll cover she had a few mini in the Tasha, but the Yelena series as well. And then after that, I'm not well versed in Black Widow, so I'm sure she had a couple of series, but I'm sure the Marvel Knight stuff will be Black Widow Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 1. Are there 3 Micronauts Omnis? Oh man, that was a long series. Yeah, because they had that second series too, right? The what was it? The Lost Years or the new Voyages. Yeah. I will Yeah, that third micro. Hey, what's up with now you reminded me, I do remember now seeing the announcement and it did not include the Micronauts versus the X-Men miniseries, right? I have that miniseries in the single issues. I guess I'll have to hold on to that one. Are you going to be on the Marvel Previews live stream with Omar on Thursday? Your presence was missed on the last live stream. I am going to try and make it to that live stream. Yes, those are always a fun time, and I do enjoy being part of that panel. Would you recommend the Web of Carnage epic or the Spider-Man Maximum Carnage? So, so those okay. So Web of Carnage is the first. No, that was Born in Blood. Web. Hold on, I'm getting all mixed up with my books here. Let me just check it out here. Was Web of Carnage Volume 2? I believe so. That's right. Collecting Amazing Spider-Man 403 and 410, Sensational Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 6. That's the when the symbiote takes over Ben Riley, as well as the Venom Carnage Unleashed miniseries, Carnage Mind Bomb. Okay, so there's some cool things in Web of Carnage because if you like that character, his first 2 one-shots are in that volume in Web of Carnage. It's called Mind Bomb and It's a Wonderful Life. And there's also the Spider-Man super special ones about Planet of the Symbiotes. Now, uh, most of this will be collected in either the Spider-Man Epic Collections or the Venom Epic Collections. Really, the only 2 things in that book are the 2 Carnage one-shots, which are pretty good. It was some of Marvel's earliest stuff, trying out parental advisory, like, more mature level stuff. They had the warning on there, and they didn't put the comic code, although famously, Tom Brevoort, who was the editor of those books, accidentally allowed the cover artist, or maybe he was the one who put it on, the comic code logo on the front. It wasn't supposed to be there, but he just out of habit stuck it on the cover, and I think he got in big trouble for that because it was not approved by the comic code. um, so let me see here. Web of Carnage. That's what you can get from that one. The Spider-Man Maximum Carnage Epic Collection is the whole Maximum Carnage storyline. Again, if you like Carnage, then you're gonna want to get that one, or Carnage Volume 1, which also has the whole Maximum Carnage story. But the Spider-Man Epic also has a graphic novel that hasn't been reprinted before. So if you like your oddities, the story's not the best one, but it's there, and that's your choice whether or not you want to jump on that. It's hard with all the dipping, especially because of, you know, the Maximum Carnage storyline in full in 3 epic collections. Kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. Excited about the DC Finest news. Definitely picking up Catwoman and Batman. Torn about the others, but may get more. Yeah, so I'm most excited about those 2 as well, especially Batman. I, was looking for my year 1 trade the other day, and I couldn't find it. I think I must have lent it out to somebody and never got it back, and I have no idea who that is. But, so that'll be nice to have that material again. I do enjoy that era of Batman, and I would love to read more of it. Um, there was a Marvel Max series by Greg Rucka, and at least one monthly oh yeah, written by Marjorie Liu. That's right. She's great. I really like Marjorie Liu. That would probably be Epic Collection Volume 2. It'll be interesting to see if they put the Marvel Max stuff in there because we haven't had any Marvel Max stuff in Epic Collections yet. At first, they were even hesitant in putting the anything with the parental advisory, but they've loosened up on that a little bit. So we'll have to see what happens. Any Doctor Strange epics coming up? Let's consult the old list here. The next Doctor Strange epic to come out, no, we actually don't have a Doctor Strange epic on the list yet. We've already had one in 2024. That was back in January. That was Doctor Strange Epic Collection Volume 2. So we'll probably be getting one early 2025, maybe, but we don't have that announced yet. And we don't have a lot to go with Doctor Strange Epic Collections. We have that one, Volume 2. What else do we need? We need volumes 6, 7, and 12. So we could either get volume 6 or we could get volume 12. Not sure. Either would be fine. And I actually think there's enough material for a volume 14 as well. What was the mini series that Tony Harris drew? Something Bones, Rattle of Bones, not Rattle of Bones, something like that. Um, th- yeah, Tom Breeder got a stern rap of the knuckles from the Comic Code Authority. Here's the Second Chances be included in the Bats volume of DC Finest. Yeah, apparently Second Chances, that's a hard trait to get, isn't it? Very, very rare. That's some of the earliest post-crisis era Batman stories, and reprinted in a skinny trade. Went out fast, never came back. So it would be great to have that material back in print, wouldn't it? Do any other Spider-Man villains deserve an epic collection? Deadly Foes of Spider-Man, Sinister Six. I mean, if you want to do a Sinister Six book, you could try and do that and have a bunch of even their solo stories weave together. But I don't think there's really a Spider-Man villain other than Venom or Carnage that deserves their own book. None of them certainly deserved their own even miniseries or anything like that. Any announcement for a Fantastic Four modern epic? I'm guessing that they'll start with the Wade Wieringo era, but looking forward to the Robinson one since it's my only modern gap. No word on the Fantastic Four modern era epics yet, but I am inclined to agree with you that a good starting place would be the Mark Wade run because that was kind of a soft reboot for the title anyway. It was kind of in limbo a little bit before that after Chris Claremont left, and it was a good start. Do you remember they released, was it the first issue of that run they released as a 9-cent comic book? It was a pretty big deal at the time. They must have printed millions of those copies, and like people were giving them away at free comic book day and for Halloween or whatever because 9-cent comic book, pretty good. An idea when we'll get the contents for Ghost Rider Epic Collection Volume 2. Have we not got that yet? Let me check because I'm pretty sure we do have the content to it. Yeah, it's called the Salvation Run. It's going to collect Ghost Rider 12 through 28. This is the Johnny Blaze era from 1975 to 1978. It's also going to have Marvel 2 and 118, Daredevil 138, that was a crossover, and then also Marvel Team Up 58 and Marvel Premiere 28, and um, material from Marvel Tales 225. So yeah, we do have that info, and I'm glad I'm able to share that with you now. Let's see. I'm watching while technically at work, trying to look disgruntled so people won't bother me. Good job. I hope that you are able to keep all those people away. I picked up the Amazing Spider-Man Clone Saga Epic. Yeah, you know what? I especially love the Clone Saga when it started. It kind of ebbed and flowed as it went through, but I liked the beginning, and I actually really liked the ending of it as well. I thought there was a lot of good stuff in there. The only Masterwork line I collect is Tomb of Dracula. I picked those up in the complete collections, and what a great series that is. Um, really good stuff, especially the beautiful Gene Colan and Tom Palmer art, but just great, solid storytelling. I'm hoping that that becomes an epic collection pretty soon at some point. Green Goblin had a 17-issue miniseries that they collect. Yeah, that was when Green Goblin was kind of a good guy. It was not any Osborn in the costume at the time, and it was kind of a new direction. Scott McDaniel was the artist on that one, I think, and Green Goblin could probably hold his own for his own epic collection, but really his appearances are scattershot and like I don't know. I don't know that it would be a great reading experience, but possible. What do you think Inhumans will get first, an epic or an omnibus? I think it'll get an omnibus first because it had thick trades already that collected a majority of the work, and so that's kind of been done. So I think if they're looking to get a new audience, that they'll release it in oversized hardcover to capture all the people who bought those thick trades and because there was no omnibus available. So that's my guess. When that'll happen, I have no idea. I don't think they typically care about Inhumans really at the moment. That's what it seems. I bet there will be lots of FF epics next year for the movie. That's a great point. I They are probably holding off on the FF Modern Era Epic Collection for to be released when the movie comes out. So that's what is that, June of next year? So we could get a word about that in the next round of announcements, which will be the early part of the next year. Any new Punisher epics on the horizon? No, unfortunately not. No new classic era epics, no modern era epics, not even any reprints at the moment. So, um, sorry. Yeah, I would love some more Punisher epics as well. That early stuff is really great, and I would love to read some more. I just got maybe 10 copies of the 9-cent FF number and gave it away to friends over the years. Good at it. That's exactly what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to buy a bunch, give them away because they only cost 9 cents. Get a whole bunch of new comic fans out there. It was really great marketing move, I think. What's taking Amazing Spider-Man Modern Era so long to be released? Well, you know what? I don't know. That's gonna be a harder one because there's a lot because that's when they switched Amazing Spider-Man to be like twice a week. Sometimes it was 3 times a month, and, I don't know if it ever got to actually weekly. It might have, but there was a lot of Amazing Spider-Man issues in during the Dan Slott era and beyond, and so there's a lot of material to collect, and then the odd time they would give a second Spidey title like Spectacular Spider-Man or whatever. They never really lasted that long, secondary titles, because Amazing was the regular one, published so frequently. Let's see. Just finished the Clone Saga Epic and really liked it. Good job, everybody. Why do you think they gave us X Factor 10 instead of X Factor 5? I am pretty sure it has to do with whatever their omnibus plans are because aren't they releasing classic X Factor in omnibus form? I don't keep up to date with the omnis, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure they are. And if that's the case, they may be just waiting to get that omnibus out the door before they go back to those classic stuff, the classic ones. The only Spider-Man villain that might get one is Green Goblin. Yes, that's right. Spoiler alert in there. I tried not to say that particular thing earlier. I should have read that comment first. Do you think it's likely that Marvel publishes Spider-Woman and Alpha Flight epics? Absolutely. Spider-Man, Spider-Woman for sure, because they've just finished releasing that stuff in Marvel Masterworks, or they're very close to finishing it, which means that they have the material all ready to go in another format. So let's push it to paperback. I bet we'll see Spider-Woman pretty soon. Alpha Flight's a little bit more tricky because a lot of that stuff hasn't even been scanned in. As far as I know, it's not in Marvel Unlimited, so they'll have to put some work and some effort to get Alpha Flight epics. Um, and that's a series that lasted quite a while, so they may also be waiting for some of the more mid-tier titles, epics to wrap up before introducing another one. Anyone remember the last time Jay Lee's Inhumans was republished? I believe it has been some years. Yeah, I think the last time it was republished might be when they released all of those Marvel Knights 20th anniversary trades. I think it was published again for that one, right? Because that's when that series came out. That would probably be the very first Inhumans modern era epic collection if they want to go in that direction. What volume, if any, would Busick Defenders would the Order run be in? That would probably be a modern era Defenders, right? Maybe. When was that? Was that the 90s? Yeah, that was the 90s. Yeah, they might. Maybe they would do it in a as a classic era epic collection. I have no idea. Crazy there hasn't been Alpha Flight epics. Yeah, it's true. What about Silver Sable and Black Cat? Okay, you guys, I'm Black Cat, I forgot about her. She would have a modern era for sure. Um, Classic era Black Cat, I mean, it would just all be double dips, wouldn't it? With Amazing Spider-Man. I would hope not, actually. Marvel, modern one, yes, because she's had her own series and such, but that's about it. Marvel should do an artisan Tomb of Dracula. Yeah, well, that would be Dark Horse. No, sorry, IDW that would do that because IDW does those artisan and artist edition books. And haven't they done one of Tomb of Dracula already? I feel like there is one, but the artisan is the smaller size paperback version of the artist edition. So maybe that's what you mean. An FF of the Pachiko Loeb run would be nice. Would be wait for it. Fantastic. Sorry, I ruined that. Would be wait for it. That's a How I Met Your Mother reference, right? They had that just recently in a complete collection. So pick that up. Complete collection, volume three, 3 and 4, I think maybe. You're late. What did you miss? Well, you'll like this Black Widow Modern Era Epic Collection. That's what you missed. I was showing off some of the beautiful Phil Noto art on the inside. It's really, really nice. This is the first time this whole series has been collected in between two covers. Before that, it was just three thin trades. How's my car? So yeah, I got a flat tire. I was trying to get home so I could be on a live stream with Omar, and so I logged on as I was driving just to say hi, and then logged off again. And then not a short while later, I noticed my car started sinking down on one side. I'm like, what's going on? The tire got really, really loud. I'm like, I got a flat tire, so I pulled over, totally flat, and luckily, it didn't burst and, like, send me careening off into a fiery blaze or anything like that, but that took up my whole day trying to get it to a I limped it to a gas station where I could fill it up, and then got it immediately to a shop where it was late enough in the day that they didn't have time for me they didn't have time to fit me into their schedule, so I had to limp it home. I actually limped it over to my parents because they lived closer, and I changed it into the spare tire, and had to drive around on a spare tire for a day, and then took it in to get fixed, and it was fine. Ended up being not a problem, but it was just kind of very inconvenient. Look, this is a good one. Any Fantastic Force Omni or Epic? Now, if you want to get obscure, there we go. That Fantastic Force was a spin-off title of Fantastic Four in the 90s, where is when Franklin Richards traveled to the future and then came back as a teenager, and he formed his own team and called it the Fantastic Force. It was at the same time that, or shortly after, New Mutants became X-Force. West Coast Avengers became Forceworks, and then Tom DeFalco joked that he was going to change Fantastic Four into Fantastic Force, but instead just created a new title. It was, you know, it was pretty good for what it was. It tied into the main series at the time, and it only lasted something like 18 issues, so it could be we get one volume of a Fantastic Force Epic Collection, but it's probably pretty low down on the list. I believe they pushed it bi-weekly to get ASAP to Amazing Spider-Man Legacy issue 1000. Yeah. Uh, did they get to 1000? That seems pretty remarkable. I just picked up 3 Conan epics. They're so thin. I'm sure someone has asked, but do you think ROM epic line or nah? I think that they will. I do because after hardcover, the paperback is the logical way to go for the people who didn't want to spend $120 on a book. Whether or not they can keep the license long enough for them to get all of the epics out is another question. So you're gonna have to take your chances with that. Just got my email from Clover Press for Billy 99 launch. Yeah, you want to talk about that for a little bit? Um, Billy 99, let's see if I can get I'm gonna share my screen because this is actually worth showing off. Um, let's see here. I don't usually do this on StreamYard, so present, share screen. Where is it? There we go. So I work for a company called Clover Press, and we just launched a new Kickstarter reprinting something by Tim Sale. He had a book, one of his very early books published by Dark Horse back in 1991. It's called Billy 99, written by Sarah Byam, who hasn't done a whole lot in the comic world. I think she wrote an issue of What If, maybe. Um, but it was originally a black and white book, and we are going to be publishing it in color. One of the things that Sarah and Tim were trying to do before Tim passed away was get a color version because Tim always wanted it to be in color, but it just wasn't in the cards when they were publishing it back in 91. So this is our Kickstarter. We launched it yesterday and it's doing pretty good here, 24,000. And here's a little GIF that I made. So I'm actually working as the editor on this project, which is very exciting. Working with Sarah, she has all of the original artwork scanned, high res, and Jose Villarrubia is our colorist on that. If you can imagine a better colorist, a modern day colorist, he's just amazing. And um, so here's a little bit of look of the work. It's got Tim Sale's signature style all over it, but it's still a lot more rougher because he's kind of only just coming into his own. Here's what the original black and white looked like at the time. And oops, let's keep on going down here. Here's another little look at the new color editions, kind of fading from black and white to color. All of these newly colored. So it's about 200 pages. We're going to have a lot of extras in there, and it was originally a 4-issue miniseries of double-size issues, so that makes up about 200, just under 200 pages. We'll have a pinup gallery, as you can see down at the bottom here, as well as this new portrait by Bill Sienkiewicz of Tim Sale. And we're offering a hardcover slipcase edition as well. Here's some of the layout mock-ups that I made, just with some of the color pages. And we also are we're also offering a two-volume hardcover slipcase um, with the color version of the book, but also a black and white version, like original black and white. Um, it's a little on the pricey side, I understand. Let's see here. Yeah, it's the $200 tier. You'll get both books. The color book is $45, and this one in a slipcase. We're making a unique slipcase for this two volume set, plus printing just a limited number of copies of the black and white because this project isn't actually to make a black and white book. It's to make the color book. And I know a lot of you will want the black and white one, but unfortunately for you, unless you have 200 bucks, this is going to be the only way to get it. Otherwise, you'll have to track down some of the old trade paperbacks that were published previously. Um, there's some of the black and white layouts. But we also have some prints and some stickers, the typical Kickstarter stuff as well. But yeah, here's our pricing. The early bird special's over, unfortunately. That was just for the first 24 hours. But you can get the book for 45 bucks. You can pledge here, get some of the bonuses for like the prints and such, and you'll get it before it hits stores. Shipping to US and Canada, unfortunately, Clover Press has decided not to do international shipping because it's just so expensive. It's like the cost of the book to ship it to Europe, and that's just ridiculous. So instead, you can use one of these freight forwarders, mail forwarding. They have better rates, and they're way just more reliable in terms of crossing the oceans. So that's we're like, just sign up with one of those guys and get. We'll ship the book to the Fort Freight forwarder. That's hard to say. Then ship it on to the other people. Anyway, I don't know if you need to see any more of this Kickstarter here. I just wanted to show that because it's a project that I've been working on for a little while now, and it's exciting to see that we are finally live on Kickstarter. The whole project, I think, it's supposed to come out in the fall, so you can find it in comic shops at that point too. Now, how do I stop sharing my screen? There we go. Boy, a lot of comments. There's a lot of you watching today. Maybe I should do live streams at this time every day. Wasn't there a Fantastic Force mini collected into the Mark Miller Fantastic Force Omni? If there, yes, there was because there was a modern four-issue miniseries, I believe, called Fantastic Force, but I don't think it had any real connection to the previous series. Not the same characters. Or maybe I'm thinking of Freedom Foundation. Maybe I'm thinking of that instead. Warren Weaver says, "I'd have to say I love Silver Sable and the Wild Pack in Epics or Omni." Yeah, she did have her own ongoing for a while in the 90s, didn't she? I bet you could get a couple of volumes of an Epic collection out of that. Um, Sarah Byam wrote Black Canary in the early 90s. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. I had no idea. I'll ask her about that. Maybe that's something that will come to DC Finest someday. Seriously, though, Silver Sable, who's a mercenary, seems to make more sense for a movie than Madam Web. And there was a Silver Sable movie planned, but they canned it. But they didn't can Madam Web. Don't understand. I never saw that Madam Web movie. Didn't look like it was worth worth doing. This is amazing, Curtis. Just read Jose's work on Absolute Swamp Thing. Absolutely blew me away. Yeah, he did some. He is a good colorist. Surprised the Elektra complete collection hasn't been made into the modern epic yet. Yeah, that'll come. That complete collection is now out of print and hard to find. So I bet it will come. And if Elektra shows up in, let's say, a Daredevil Disney Plus show, then maybe we'll see some more epic collections. It seems amazing. Didn't know about this work from Tim Sale. Have to wait for retail since shipping is killer. Yes, absolutely. I understand. What should we do with these miniseries backup stories of supporting casts? Yeah, who knows? There's just so much content. It can't possibly all come out as epic collections because it doesn't work. It doesn't work to have like You know, that's why we have these Marvel rarities. We're gonna get a Watch Your Epic collection? Probably not. So the 5 stories or whatever it is, 7 stories, and they're short, they're like partial issues, they're gonna have to be collected in something like this. If we had like a Marvel Masterworks Rarities Epic line that went for volumes collecting the oddball stories from Marvel Comics Presents and that kind of thing, and like Spellbound and Steel Town Rockers and Terror Inc., you know? All of these bizarre titles that didn't last very long and don't have any real connection or purpose. Slapstick, the 4-issue Slapstick miniseries. That'd be great to have in something like this. Like, you could make a whole line out of that. Would it sell well? I have no idea because it would be characters that no one cares about. So, who knows? Can Silver Surfer Epic Collection Parable be read as a standalone, or does it require prior reads? There's a yes and a no to this. The story Parable, which is a 2-issue miniseries by Stan Lee and Mobius, that can be read as standalone. No prior knowledge needed. However, the main bulk of that Epic Collection is the conclusion to the stuff that starts in Epic Collection Volume 3, Freedom. And let me just make sure I've got that right. Um, Parable 5 is the return. Yeah. So actually, it's the continuation of the stuff that starts in volume 3. So we start a big story that involves a new war between the Kree and the Skrull. It all begins in volume 3. It continues through volume 4, and it wraps up at the beginning of volume 5. So um, for the most part, actually, you could probably jump in and get caught up very quickly. But if you want the full story, yeah, it does start in the volume before. Marvel Rarities Epic, hell yeah, I'd buy that. Epic oddball collection is that what we could call it. Similarly, random X-Men mutant stories under an X-Men Unlimited, or put that in the Marvel Rarities so that you have reason for people to buy the book. It's like this has X-Men stories. Oh yeah, it also has slapstick and whoever the Mace from Marvel Comics Presents. But it's got X-Men, so that's our selling point. That's our angle. That would be really good. Maybe Spidey supporting cast stories can be part of the Web of Spider-Man or Spider-Man Unlimited epics. Yeah, if we can get spectacular Spider-Man epics and Web of Spider-Man epics and Peter Parker Spider-Man epics, then all of the other stuff that has been left out of the amazing Spider-Man stuff can have a home spread out in those other ones, and I'd be fine with that. That'd be great. Chris just found the channel. Finally, hope all is well. I really like your avatar, the that new Ultimate Spider-Man. Um, what's his name? Chichetto. Very good artist. If Silver Sable gets a collection, I think it will be in Masterworks probably. I mean, they are getting closer to the 90s, but I guess you mean like if you pulled out the uh the different time periods of like the early years of Silver Sable, we get a Masterworks. Could be Marvel Rarities by year. Okay, that would be kind of good. Like Marvel Rarities 1961 to 1975 or whatever. Will Marvel ever make event epics like Mutant Massacre or Civil War? Um, there's a good possibility that they would try to do something like that for the modern era epic collections, since they don't seem to be collecting a lot of the big events in those epic collections by themselves. Mutant Massacre is an X-Men thing, so it'll find a home in X-Men for sure. I mean, maybe not the whole event. It'll be spread out in the various X titles, epics, but Civil War would be great because there's a lot of stuff in Civil War, like front lines, where that's not going to be in any Marvel modern era epic collection, I don't think. So it would be nice if we had a Civil War epic collection, just one volume that collect the main series plus any tie-ins that wouldn't fit nicely into other epic collections. It'd be a nice supplement. But I was griping. about the fact that Loki and Dark Adventures didn't have Siege in it, but then we got the announcements that Thor Modern Era Volume 2 is also going to be released pretty soon. And then if you consider the implications that series has on New Avengers and Captain America as well, that's 5 epic collections that could potentially have all 6 double-sized Siege issues in it, and it's like that just seems like overkill. We are complaining about Maximum Carnage being in 3 epics, so the fact that they leave that series out of all of the epics, I love it if it's in at least one of them, but the fact that they leave it out of them, I understand because might as well just buy the standalone trade. Well, it's not gonna look right on my shelf. Anyway, I gotta go. We've been talking for an hour. It's been great talking to all of you, answering some questions. You've had some great questions, and my son is calling me on the phone. I guess I should find out what he wants. And it's been nice chatting with everybody. So I hope that you will all pick up the Black Widow Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 3. It's coming out April 9. That's really what we were talking about today. So, but other than that, I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you again when I have another unboxing. Actually, I'll see you on Thursday on Near Mint Conditions channel for their Marvel Solicit live stream. Thanks, everybody. See you later.